What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show. Today, we have a very interesting one because the Blazers did end up getting a win, but this was a game that should have never been close in the first place. They pull it out at the end behind 51 points from Damien Lillard against a Ben Simmons and mostly Joel Embiid-less 76ers team. This was a pretty mediocre lineup that the 76ers had out there for pretty much the majority of the game. A far less talented lineup than Portland's, but Portland still managed to blow a 17-point lead in this one and had to claw their way to a win here. Damien Lillard hit a key clutch 4-point play down the stretch. Without that play right there, it's very likely that the Blazers would have ended up losing this game. So once again, Dame bails out the team, Dame bails out the coaching staff, and wins the game for the Portland Trail Blazers on the back of just another insane, impressive performance. So we'll talk about that, but then we also got to talk about the issues that plagued us in this game, because the issues that plagued us in this game were the same exact issues that lost us last game. Nothing was learned from last game. And the only difference in this one was instead of Dame, not coming up clutch, he came up clutch like he normally does and put the team on his back. So we're going to be talking straight facts in this one. We're going to be telling you guys how it is, because this was not a good performance by the Portland Trail Blazers at all. It absolutely was not. And it just wasn't a good game from the coaching staff, and we'll go into the reasons why. We'll also talk about some of the good performances. But let me welcome Eric. Let Eric talk before I go into the box score. So, what's your first just your emotion right now? Is it frustration? Is it happiness? What's the emotion right now?
Well, I was going to say something else, but we already got people in here. Oh, so you give him credit when he makes it, but you don't bash him when he misses it. So in case you guys didn't see it, after yesterday's post-game show, we were basically told that we should change our name to the Damien Lillard podcast instead of Blazers Uprise, and that we only love Damien Lillard and not the Blazers. This man carries our freaking franchise on his back despite everything going against him. And you saw tonight, the only thing we had to run the whole fourth quarter was the Dame save us play where he comes off a screen and hopefully makes a tough three. And if he doesn't make those, we lose to a team that has no business even being in a game with us. And I'm sorry I'm getting mad this early, but
So that's the emotion, anger.
He is this man is not a superhero. He cannot do it every game. He's gonna fail every once in a while. But you don't crap on guys like that who do it 99% of the time, and then the one time they fail, you don't turn your back on those guys. You say, hey, we'll get them next time. It's the people who mess up constantly every single freaking game this season, and that's our coaching staff not putting the players in the position to make them win. And if that makes us Dame lovers, Dame is the best player we've had maybe in franchise history, definitely top 3 at worst. And I'm sick of people saying that you have to bash Dame or be critical. We said he messed up. He missed the free throws. It's not something we can change or change a game plan or a scheme or do anything differently if he misses a free throw. It just happened. But we can change what we do the entire game to affect the outcome of the game at the end so it doesn't have to come down to these things. And and anyone who is blaming Dame is not a Blazer fan, because you do not understand what is going on with this team and how much he has to overcome. And I'm sorry, I love Dame, and he's a great player, and we're lucky to have him. He's loyal. Why would we bash him? Why? The guy in an era where people constantly say, "Oh, you should join the Knicks, you should join the Lakers, you should join forces with this person, join forces with that one. Oh, hey, LeBron signed with the Lakers. Let's try to trade for Anthony Davis and get Damian Lillard here and form a super team." Dame says no to all that. He wants to be here, wants to be in Portland, and this guy's an amazing player. I'm just, how are we supposed to be critical other than he missed shots? He missed them. We said it. He messed up. That was on him. He missed the shots. Like, I don't know what you guys want from us, but like, and I know it's only a few like
Yeah,
random
I
like
mean, I didn't want to
people, but
address that right off the bat, but I
I
also
know.
agree with everything you're
I
saying.
just I just saw the comment right away in chat,
Yeah.
and I wasn't going to address it right now either. But it's just pissing me off.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing, man. Dame's not deciding to miss free throws, right? You're going to make some shots, you're going to miss some shots, right? You can decide what type of shots you take. You can decide how hard you play on defense. You can decide, are we going to switch everything defensively, or are we actually going to try and play better defense? You can decide what sets we run, what type of offense we run. Like, everything we critique is mostly decision-based stuff. Sure, if somebody can't shoot, we'll point out, like, dang, Mario Hezonja just can't hit outside shots or something like that, you know? His shooting hurts our team, right? But, like, Damien Lillard, he's a good free throw shooter, okay? And he normally makes clutch free throws. So he's not deciding to miss free throws. So that's the whole thing. Like, we have to bash him for him missing free throws. Like, yeah, it sucked, it hurt, but normally he hits them. And so every now and then, you'll have situations where he'll miss some. But last game, a bunch of the stuff that led up to Damien missing those free throws happened in this game as well and almost lost us this game as well. So we were critiquing all the things that led up to that loss yesterday. The thing is, all those problems happened today, so I'm tying this back to this game today. There's been two main things that the Blazers have been doing lately that's really, really hurting them. One is a tendency to just switch every screen. They've gotten worse in this regard. The last two games, at least during the second halves, the Blazers have switched basically everything. And it has led to mediocre players going off. You had the Clippers running a mediocre lineup against us and beating us. And you had a mediocre lineup tonight from the Philadelphia 76ers with Josh Richardson going off against us. We switched constantly and would have Yusuf Nurkic on Josh Richardson, who was hot all game. Nurkic is a good defender, but you don't want him on a hot perimeter player. You don't want him having to defend out on the perimeter. That's what you do if you switch. So that was a major issue. And then the other major issue was our offense became stagnant, no ball movement, and started settling for a bunch of bad jumpers because of it. We saw that in the fourth quarter, especially today. In the third quarter as well. It was a second half thing. So switching everything defensively and stagnant offense that ends up in a bunch of bad shots, right? That happened yesterday. That's what led up to those Dame free throws. That's why we weren't being mad at Dame, because we should have never been in that position. Kendrick Perkins was on ESPN saying this very same thing, that he thought Terry Stotts lost the game for Portland yesterday because of the things leading up to Dame's two missed free throws. It's exactly what I was saying. So Kendrick Perkins actually was backing us up with that. Those same issues happened today, and it almost lost us the game.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, here's the thing. Here's what I really don't understand, right? James Harden struggles when we trap him, right? Yeah, this year he has struggled when we trap him. When a guy gets hot, like a Josh Richardson, who is nowhere near as good as James Harden, why don't we trap him? If James Harden struggles against it, and it works against the Rockets, who are a good three-point shooting team, which is normally how you exploit the trap, but it still works, why wouldn't we utilize a trap on Josh Richardson when he's on fire? Why wouldn't we do that? He's not a playmaker. He's not like a terrific ball handler. He's probably going to struggle in that.
Force some turnovers. Yeah.
He's probably going to struggle in that situation, become uncomfortable, and if offensive players are taken out of their comfort zone, they're not going to shoot as well. They're not going to play as well. So why don't we throw a trap out there at Josh Richardson? Instead of doing that, we kept switching our center into a mismatch against Josh Richardson, and Richardson just would isolate our bigs on an island, which is a great position for him to be in. You know what I mean? That's what doesn't make any sense to me. It was pissing me off something else, the fact that we kept switching down the stretch. It just doesn't make sense. Why not throw a trap out there?
Well, here's the thing that always bugs me. We've seen now, since the Pelican series, it's actually gone on before that, but that was the first time it was actually super noticeable where we didn't correct it, right, where Dame gets trapped, right? Mm-hmm. So we see... Now, we're talking, 2 full seasons later after that series that we still struggle when Dame gets trapped. So if you were smart, you would think, oh, other teams do this to us and take us completely out of our game plan. Well, let's try doing that to them when they're hot. Like, we're not playing defense. Like,
Yeah.
That thought doesn't cross your mind. Like, oh, mix in a trap, like you said, when it works against us after we've been trying to, like, figure out how to do it for so long, and we still don't know how to combat it, yet we don't implore that same thing on defense.
Yeah.
Like, it just that's baffling to me. Like, it works against us. Like, why wouldn't you try to see if it works on other teams? Like, I don't get it at all.
Well, you know what's funny is Damien Lillard was on JJ Redick's podcast the other day, and he said he loves when defenses drop the big on the pick and roll because he's just going to rise up for three every time knowing he has an open look. So he said that, and it was like, that's the scheme we mostly run. So you love it when other teams run the defensive scheme that we mostly run on defense. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, man. Nothing with the coaching of this team makes any sense. It's why the same issues that existed all season, it's why they still exist even though we have our bigs back, right? So the people saying, oh, it'd be nice to have Ariza and Hood. Yeah, it'd be nice to have them, but these issues would still exist. We were the only ones telling you guys that these issues would still exist once Nurkic and Collins came back. At least the only ones in media or covering the team or whatever, you know. Some of you guys might not consider us media or anything. We're YouTubers. But as far as people with any sort of platform, me and Eric were the only ones telling you guys that these problems would still exist even after getting Collins and Nurkic back. And they still do. So... yeah, we don't have Ariza, we don't have Hood, but these problems would still exist even if we got them back. This isn't really a personnel issue. This is a coaching issue. That's why it doesn't matter what personnel we have in there. So that's the whole thing, man. And we can go into depth a little bit more, but the coaching was not good in this game. The coaching was very frustrating, and it's just, I'm happy we won, of course. You know, I want us to be competitive and make a playoff run, you know? Like, obviously, I'm happy we won. But it gets so infuriating when you have Josh Richardson just going off against us and we just keep switching bigs onto him instead of throwing out a trap. Instead of, like, it's just the same problems happening over and over again. It drives me crazy. So I gotta talk about them.
So I particularly was interested in this coming out in the third quarter, right? Mm-hmm. Because I knew we let them back in the game with our switching and not getting over picks quick enough and, getting mismatches either between like Tobias Harris and Al Horford and players like that getting matched up against a smaller guy, or Nurk or Collins or someone like Melo trying to guard a like Josh Richardson or Shake Milton or whatever, So that's what was hurting us in the first half. So I came out, first possession of the second half. Tobias Harris doesn't even pick CJ. Before he even sets a pick on CJ has already switched onto Tobias Harris and left Nurk out on an island. They throw it into Tobias Harris. He turns around and shoots over the top of CJ. Bucket, right? Mm-hmm. and oh, yeah, real quick, Block Boy, you are correct. We will get to that later. Melo had a fantastic game today. Yep. We will definitely talk about that. And we continued to do it the whole second half. Like the first 3 or 4 possessions, we did the same thing. They got easy buckets because they had a mismatch every time. And if they don't score, it's too easy for a big guy to get a rebound when CJ is the one trying to box him out. Or like where all our bigs are around the perimeter and all the smaller guys are inside trying to get rebounds. Mm-hmm. And this is driving me crazy. It is 100% coaching. If you do not know how to get through picks, how to navigate picks, how to not just give yourself up, your spacing, the way you angle your body through a pick, that is all coachable things. And yes, the players might not be doing it on the floor, but that's why you practice. You have to practice it time and time again and show these players how to get through a pick. Stotts has been here for 8 years now, and it's been a problem every single year we've done it. Mm-hmm. Even when he had good defenders like Wesley Matthews and Nick Batum and players like that, we still would switch way too easily against teams like the Mavericks. So we'd always have a point guard trying to guard Dirk Nowitzki in the high post, and they killed us with that. It's gone on for too long. And if if they can't teach how to get through a screen, how do you think they're teaching like every other aspect of a game? Like it just manifests into so many different areas, and we don't even try to get through picks. And that's what happens. You see it when like the first game of the season, Ariza shows hard on picks, or not Ariza, Whiteside shows hard on picks and recovers to his man. And seemingly out went along like, oh no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to sag back, and we haven't really seen that since. We thought they were going to try something different when they said they were going to try to go with a bigger lineup to combat some of the issues they were having, but no, we haven't seen a damn thing different. And then so Ariza gets traded here. He's great at fighting picks, probably the best player we've had in a long time at navigating and fighting through picks. And he does that well, but he's not here, and he can't do that. Like, we can't rely on one player on our defense to fight through those picks and do that. And so it's crazy that, to me, that we're sitting here 8 years into Stott's tenure, and our guards, Dame and CJ, Dame's been here all 8 years, CJ's been here 7 years. They don't know how to get through a pick after playing in the NBA for that long under the same coaching staff. Like, that drives me crazy. Like, it's and anyone who says they can't coach, they can't teach them that because it's they're not able to do that. That is BS. It is. You can tell that they are told to just stop and switch automatically on some of these plays, and it's not the right decision, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, well, getting through a pick is not like an athleticism-based thing, right? I've always said, like, okay, Terry Stotts can't make Carmelo Anthony slide his feet faster to stay in front of perimeter players. Like, that, maybe don't play Carmelo at small forward as much, but regardless, that...
he hasn't really been that's kind of weird, because, like, he hasn't... I have to admit, he has not really been the problem on our defense, and teams aren't exploiting that at all, so, yeah.
But, like, if you got Zach Collins matched up against Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid overpowers him because he's stronger, like, that's like a... like individual trait. That's not like a coaching staff problem. When it comes to angling your way through picks and getting through picks properly, that's not anything other than technique, right? And technique is 100% coachable. So that's the entire thing when it comes to getting through picks. They're not struggling to get through picks because they just don't have the right personnel to get through screens. Like, that sounds so ridiculous to somebody who's like I feel like that sounds absolutely ridiculous to anybody who's, like, played college basketball. You know what I mean? Because, like, when you get to college, even if it's just low-level college ball, it's so much screen-based stuff that is such a point of emphasis. And, like, me personally, I improve so much on getting through screens because it's just a technique thing. It's a 100% technique thing. So when it comes to NBA players, man, they're all athletic. All these perimeter guys are quick, right? Dame and CJ, they're not bad athletes at all. Dame's a great athlete. Like, why can't they get through picks? It doesn't make any sense. So then it ends up in a situation where, they're struggling to get through picks, and okay, we'll just switch everything and switch into mismatches, and it's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's a coaching thing, and you can tell that these players don't know how to get through picks. I've seen multiple times where a pick is coming to Gary Trent Jr. and he's, like, rearranging his feet a million times because he doesn't know exactly how he wants to get through the pick, right? And he's not like... You watch other teams, you watch Marcus Smart, you watch guys like Avery Bradley, a pick's coming, they go right up to the ball handler's hip and settle in and try and beat the ball handler through the pick. And if they get picked off a little bit, they try and stay attached to their hip, right? Those guys know exactly what they're doing. Watch other NBA games and watch how players get through picks and compare it to our players, right? It's 100% a coaching thing when it comes to getting through picks and our pick and roll scheme. And I'm absolutely tired of just the way we guard pick and rolls. I get tired of only running the drop scheme, and now I'm tired of us just switching everything. Like, that's even worse. You just end up with a bunch of mismatches, and Nurkic out on Richardson, who's high, who hits threes. And then if he misses, you got a 76ers big rebounding over CJ. It's just not a recipe for success. So that killed us yesterday, and that killed us today.
And to your point, like, this would be different if we just had a game plan, it didn't work out this game or whatever, right? But we just saw how bad it worked yesterday. We've seen how bad it's worked for, like I said, 8 years now. And we're still not doing, like, at halftime of this game, what did we do? What did we do at halftime of this game? Because I have no clue.
What do we do at halftime every game?
I know, but, like, this particular game, what did we do at halftime? we kept the same exact defensive thing, and we got stagnant on offense like we always do. That's not making adjustments. Like you should have been like the whole halftime should have been yelling at people about and demonstrating how to get through a pick. Like I don't understand. like anytime someone like he should have said, next person that dies on a pick and doesn't try to fight through it, you're benched for the rest of the game. And I guarantee you those guys would try to fight their butt through those picks. But no, we don't even do that. Like, we don't hold anyone accountable on the defense.
The players, I mean, like, the players have to hold themselves to a little higher standard in terms of individually, like, trying harder to get through picks. But also, it's like, they don't know how to properly get through them. So, a lot of media people say, "Oh, it's just the players not trying hard enough," as if it's just an effort thing. But it's not just an effort thing; it's a technique thing, and they don't have the proper technique getting through picks, and it hurts us. It hurts us, and it's why this game was close. Like I'm frustrated this game was close. You know, like, we'll talk about the good things from this game. Don't think it's just all going to be negative here. But, like, it just shouldn't have not have been in that position. You know what I mean? And what's funny is, like, if they missed 2 free throws and we lost the game because of it, people would say, you'd have these guys out here saying, Dame choked, it's all on him. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the narrative, because that's what it was last game. Last game, Dame didn't completely bail us out like he always does, and we lost because of it, because we have to ride Dame because we put ourselves in bad positions with bad coaching by switching screens and stagnant offense. I do want to talk about the offense before we get to some positive things, though. That offense down the stretch was horrible. You had so many bad shots just as a result of us, like, winding down the clock. Even plays where we scored, right? The best bucket down the stretch was Dame's 4-point play, but that was out of a timeout, and in that play, you have a 24-second shot clock, right? Mm-hmm. All that happened in that play was Dame dribbled it around half court, CJ ran up to Dame passed the ball to CJ passed it back, and then they started a pick and roll with 8 seconds left. Right?
Same thing they always do.
Yep. It's like, why don't you start the pick and roll earlier? What's with all that, like, wasted time? You know, go watch that clip back after this if you can. Like, that's exactly what happened. What's with all the wasted time? Run a pick and roll earlier, then if it's shut down, then you still have time to do something else. You know what I mean? Instead, we're running a pick and roll with 8 seconds left. They see it coming the entire way. So then if it doesn't work, we're stuck battling the shot clock and having to settle for terrible shots. But beyond that, why don't we switch it up and run sets, use Dame off the ball, and do more than just run pick and roll and waste shot clock?
And where was that play that ran twice in the first half of yesterday's game, where we have Melo in the corner off ball and have him roll off an off ball pick with Nurk up top, and he was wide open both times. We got two easy buckets both times doing that play. Haven't seen it since the first half of last game. But when our offense is struggling to just even like get a quality shot off, why wouldn't we run a little play like that? I just don't get it.
It doesn't make sense. We went such a long stretch there without running a set where it was just straight rat ball. Like, why even have a coach if we're just going to go out there down the stretch and play rat ball? You know what I mean? Like, there was probably 7-8 possessions in a row where we didn't run a play, and I don't count like a pick and roll as a play. Pick and roll is like you can have it incorporated as part of a play, as part of an option of a play, but like that's like rat ball stuff. I'll go into an open gym and run pick and roll all day. I'll go into my rec league, we'll run pick and roll all day. Like, that's a very basic action, right? And honestly, like, one of the top things of most NBA defenses is one of the top priorities is stopping the pick and roll. So it's like, why don't we have other actions? If we have such a great offensive coach, how do we go 8 possessions in a row where the only thing we can manage to run is like a pick and roll with 8 seconds left on the shot clock after wasting a bunch of time? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
And the funny thing is, Philadelphia, once Embiid went out, they have no big that's good at rolling off a pick. I mean, I guess Horford used to be good at popping, and he can still take advantage of some mismatches down in the post because he's crafty. But they shouldn't have, like, a guy like Josh Richardson shouldn't have, like, the game of his life coming off pick and rolls against our defense either. So, like, it's just so frustrating because, like, we see it not working for us, but, like, works so well for the other teams against our defense. And, like, I just don't understand why we don't try some of the strategies that these other teams are doing in the second half of these games. It's just, Well, it's it. And then, like, to anyone who's saying real quick that that like they just hit shots or whatever, like this is what happens when you mess around and give up open shots. That Josh Richardson did hit some incredibly tough shots towards the end of this game, but like that's what happens if you don't keep your foot on the gas and run a good offense and play good defense, then stuff like that happens to where he can hit a three and almost cost you a game. That's what happened yesterday and why we lost the game. Stuff can happen, so you don't want to get in position for stuff to happen. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to focus on the offense here. You know, we went in on the defense, explained it well.
I know.
So, but Blockboy said that's the NBA today, though, in regards to like us just like, oh, all we're doing is running pick and roll, 8 positions in a row, not running a set. The thing is, a lot of other NBA teams, they'll run some sort of action to try and free something else up, and then if it doesn't work, there will be like 8 seconds on the shot clock, and then they'll run pick and roll, right? Because it's a very easy thing to set up. You can set it up anywhere around the perimeter with any perimeter guys, like it's a very easy thing to like fall back to if some sort of set fails. The thing is, down the stretch, it was like that play that Dame hit, that and 1-3, is a perfect example. Instead of trying within the first 16 seconds to run some sort of good action that might get us an easy bucket or a good shot, Dame stands around at half court, passes the ball to CJ, he passes it back, then they run pick and roll in 8 seconds. You know what I mean? So, like, if they were running a bunch of pick and roll because, like, they were running good actions, but Philadelphia was defending it well, fine. Like, perfect. It's the problem where we just are super stagnant, not doing anything, dribbling around, and then running pick and roll. And the thing is, a lot of those plays, we weren't even running pick and roll. It's just isolation, one-on-one type stuff. So, it's not like other NBA teams.
Well, the thing is, I would understand if we tried running a lot of plays and they don't work out, but almost every time we run a play, it results in a good shot. Like, and then we never see that play again. It's like, okay, did you just like implement that play for one time in the first quarter of a game, and like you're never going to go back to that, even if your normal offense is struggling? And this is the problem. Like, even if we get into the playoffs, you can't play this way and win a championship. Like, you can't rely on this game in and game out, because teams will find a way to stop Damien Lillard, and then we'll struggle because we don't know what else to do. There was a play in this game. First of all, Mario Hezonja was playing until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter of this game.
Yeah, I will say this. I did think he had a solid game today, especially the first half. But like, was...
I'm not bashing him, but like, it's not his fault he's in the game. Like, I mean, there's nothing he can do. Like, if he's told to go in the game, he's going to play. But there was a play where they started trying to deny Dame and CJ getting the ball, and Mario had to bring it up. And he literally stood there, and he put his hand up and was like, he had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
The team had no idea what to do. In those situations, there's no excuse for not having, like, one play he could run or just say, hey, let's run this play. It's because we don't have any plays to run. It's because we only have the Dame pick and roll and the Dame CJ ISO or Melo ISO plays. We don't have any other plays. Yep. So like it didn't even register to him that he could run a play because we don't even have plays set up for him to run. So like he literally just stood there like wondering what the heck he was supposed to do. He couldn't get the ball to Dame or CJ because they were both being denied. Yeah. And then he dribbles up and takes like a 15-foot jumper with someone in his face. And it's not his fault, but like why are we putting our players in position to not succeed? Like, I just do not get it.
You know what's funny is like he could have maybe ran horns or something, but the problem is like he's supposed to be the 4, right? That's the thing that doesn't make sense. Is he's supposed to be the 4? So horns is basically where you have 2 people at the elbows and you have 2 wings. And the point guard or the guy handling the ball throws it to one of the elbows. It will be like the 5 or the 4 at the elbows. It'll be Nurkic. I'll pull it up on the clipboard because this is kind of I got it pretty much ready right here. Let me pull it up for you guys. Let me show it because this is probably the most common action in the NBA is horns is what it's called. So I'll get the blue guys out of here and I will show this to y'all. So horns. You guys might recognize this. So when you have the point guard with the ball, you usually have here. Like, the point guard will pass it to the power forward or the center, and depending on where he passes it, he goes away from the ball usually, and then it's a down screen. It's a pin down here. And this guy has an option. He can curl it and go in there, or he can come off here and maybe get a shot. If he comes up, normally this guy will slip. If he curls, this being mellow, then this guy will come up off of here. So that's just a common action. But the problem is, if Mario's like the power forward, Dame and CJ are off the ball being denied. Like, how are they supposed to run? Like,
they were like almost a half court.
Yeah, like they could like bring in the small forward here and run it here with Mario initiating it and going away. But like they're not geared to do that. Like, they get so lost when it's like Dame and CJ can't be the ones to initiate the play. So like the thing is, the small forward isn't even thinking, oh, Mario has the ball, I need to take his spot as a forward. I need to take his spot in this set or something. So, like, even if Mario calls it, it's like we're not on the same page. The small forward's probably setting up at the corner because that's where he normally is during this play. So they're just completely lost out there. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like, okay, we want to use Mario as, like, the secondary or third ball handler, but we don't have any sets for him to initiate. And then we don't adapt when he has to bring the ball up. We can't adapt into our normal sets like this. Instead, everybody just stands around looking lost. And that was 100% a coaching thing. 100% a coaching thing. So he just stands around here where they waste 12, 14 seconds. Then he's like, okay, guess I gotta do something, and probably forces a jump shot. And then everybody say, oh, Mario, what the hell are you doing? It's like, I'm not blaming Mario. Like, what is he supposed to do? What are we as a whole collective unit doing? What is the coaching behind this, you know? So, so that's just kind of an example right there.
And a lot of times, so like Blockboy says, we do run that some. Yes, we do run horns occasionally, which is like one of the most basic offensive sets ever.
Yeah. Every defense knows horns.
What almost exclusively happens when we run horns, Dame or CJ, whoever's in the game running the point, will pass it to the big, and then he'll go right to him and receive the handoff again. And it's basically like a pick and roll.
Yep.
Only we don't do any like off ball movement out of it. And sometimes like someone will go backdoor and Nurk will find him for a lay-in or whatever. But like that's more just like spontaneous ad-libbing out of it, not necessarily designed to do it.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, like, this is a pick and roll. Pass to Nurk, hand back, pick and like that's a pick and roll, right?
Yeah.
This center, the guy guarding the center, like, he's set behind Nurkic, right? He's set behind Nurkic. If this is a team that's trapping, we're struggling with it, we'll still, even if we're struggling with the trap, we'll still play into it. We'll still throw it to Nurkic, and he'll hand it back to Dame, and this center isn't moving or anything. He's set here, so he's ready to come up and trap, and Dame's guys trailing him and trap, and then they rotate over, take away the center. You know, like, that's the type of stuff that happens, and it's like, that's where I think we need more creativity with our offensive sets. That's where, like, people say Stotts is an offensive genius, but that's where I disagree with it. We don't have enough creativity. We don't do stuff like back screen, you know, we don't do stuff like get it over to this side and then have a back screen for Nurkic where he gets a screen and can get free going towards the rim with good position. I don't ever see that. We don't really have low cross screens where we have a guy screen across for Nurkic and he comes across and gets good position and then they throw it in. Anytime the ball goes into Nurkic, it's usually just, walk the ball down the close and he tries to post up, gets pushed out, and he's battling here with a center. And then they finally throw it into Nurkic like 15 feet away from the rim. You know what I mean? Like, that's a type of example of, like, we don't have creative enough offensive sets, and then down the stretch we get stagnant and bogged down and can't do anything. And that's what you saw today and yesterday.
And you saw one play in the first half where Dame, it looked like he was almost going to try to post up for a minute, but then he got kind of caught out baseline. And Nurk actually sealed his guy under the hoop. Dame passed it to him, easy lay-in for Nurk. Like that's easy bucket. But like, why don't we do that yesterday? Or why don't we do that more often? Like you said, set a cross screen. So what you have happen is, if Dame brings the ball up the right hand side, you have Nurk start on the left side block where he is in the picture right here, and then you have Collins start on this other block, right?
Yep.
And then and then you clear the small forward out, or you could even set a double pick for Nurk or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so Collins would go and set a pick for Nurk, and then he would just seal his guy right directly under the hoop. Dame throws it into him, and then he's got basically a guy sealed 2 feet away from the basket. He can lay it in. But instead, we just post them up, and then, like you said, they get kind of pushed out 10 feet away, and then they have to kind of do a spin move, and then he's trying to do a little flip or a hook from like 8 feet away versus being 2 feet away from the hoop. And it's just it's just so frustrating. It's like these are NBA players. They can. I mean, I know this Orlando restart is kind of street ballish anyway, but like, that's all the offense is just like, go create something and go do this. And like, anyone can go set a pick in a pickup game. You don't need to know an offense to do that. You don't need to you can spontaneously have like good plays or someone makes the right decision and cuts out of it, but that doesn't mean it was set up to be that way. It's just so frustrating.
And I mean, the thing is, even if Nurkic isn't open, say they switch, Collins screens across, right, and Nurkic comes across with Dame having the ball over here, of course, and Collins guy switches onto Nurkic and takes that away. Collins in that situation can pop up here, right, and receive the ball, and Nurkic can seal this guy here. And this center will either have to take away Nurkic, giving Collins an easy shot from there, or go up and guard Collins, and Collins can throw it over the top to Nurkic, who can get a lay-in. So, like, there's a lot of good things that can happen. And this is just a very basic thing that could be part of a bigger set where you have, like, Dame is an option, You could have... I mean, we're just kind of like going off the cuff here, but you could have Dame be the one set this cross screen for Nurkic, right? You could have
Dame was the one setting the pick for Melo in that play yesterday twice. So
you could have.
It doesn't really matter.
You could have Collins, who's a good enough shooter that Collins guy will have to guard him, right? And you could have. Let me fix this here. You could have. I'll take out the defense. You could have Dame cross screen for Nurkic, who then comes across. If CJ can't enter the ball to him, then you can run a down screen from Collins to there and free Dame going up. Like, there's and that's just a very basic thing. We could get more creative than this. Like, I'm not going to go too in depth where it becomes confusing. Like, but this is just an action that I don't ever see. I rarely see it. I don't know. Like, maybe I miss it. But this is something I don't see, this type of action. So that's the problem I have.
The most frustrating part to me, we had at least a month and a half, probably closer to 2 months, knowing that Melo was going to be our small forward, that Collins was going to be back at power forward, that Nurk was going to be our center, that we had Whiteside coming off the bench. I know he didn't play the last 2 games, but like, going into this, we knew we'd have all those things and have a severe mismatch size-wise in most games that we played, especially against some of the matchups when the schedule came out, right? Yeah. Today was one of the few games where you'd say, okay, maybe an Embiid matches up well with Nurk, but you still have like a Collins and Melo. That's the whole point. Like, people said about playing Melo at small forward was like he could take advantage of like smaller guys on him, playing the small forward versus power forward. And so like, why wouldn't you like go to work at making some plays that would take advantage of this size instead of just posting them up in positions where they're not like Melo post up. We talked about it time and time again. He averages way more points per possession on spot ups and when he takes the ball to the rim or gets the ball as he's cutting to the rim versus his little mid-range jumper. But like, we don't seem to. And we run plays that work, and then we don't seem to go back to them. Like, it's just so perplexing. I don't understand at all.
I mean, I want to know if you guys recognize this, because this is what happens a lot of time in crunch time. A lot of our sets revolve around players like running around like this, running around in a circle. Nobody cutting to the rim. No like back screen for Collins who then cuts to the rim. Nothing like that, right? A lot of it is like guys running around the perimeter, right? It'll be like, this is a play we always see. And I think this is the play they tried to run when Dame got that 4-point play. It's like a screen down for CJ, and maybe he's open running to 3, but he's running away from the rim, you know what I mean? So it's like a catch and turn and shoot, right? Like, a lot of our sets are just like to try and free guys on the perimeter. It's not to free stuff up inside, but then if if CJ doesn't have the shot, Dame passes it to CJ. CJ passes it back. He runs around, gets a flare, is still running around the perimeter, and then you have like a pin down for Gary Trent Jr. or Melo, whoever this is, to run out to the perimeter. CJ gets a flare to run out to the perimeter. All the options are like perimeter-based stuff, which teams shut down during crunch time. Teams shut this type of stuff down, and we get extended. They pressure defense, so instead of starting the play from here, Dame's starting it from up here, which makes it a lot harder to run and everything. How many times have you seen us try and run this type of play, and it's just like, pass the ball to CJ. Oh, CJ passes it back. Okay, nothing's open. We're just standing around. Okay, 8 seconds left. Let's go run some pick and roll like we always do. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened when Dame hit that 4-point shot. When they had that 4-point play. We finally decide to run pick and roll, and Dame comes off and gets fouled and chucks up a 3 and makes it and gets a 4-point play that probably was the play that won us the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's a perfect example of Dame bailing out shots.
The next play, I think it was the 3 after that. Mm-hmm. They just had everyone stand in the corner and let Dame go one high, 4 low. And, but they weren't even near the hoop. They were all standing together. Like 3 of them were in the strong side corner, just standing there, all next to each other. No, like it was either Dame's going to make a shot or they're going to get the rebound and score. And
yeah. And here's the thing: Dame's a great ISO player, right? So I'm not saying we should never ISO Dame, but you could run some sort of good action for the first 16 seconds to try and get a really easy shot, and then if that's not there, you can ISO Dame. You know what I mean? You can always fall back to this type of stuff. But the problem is, like, a lot of our sets bog down in crunch time, and our offense becomes stagnant because this perimeter cutesy, like, running around in a circle around the perimeter type of stuff doesn't work. Like, for people that say, you're crazy if you think Stotts is an overrated offensive coach, I want those people to actually watch a game and try and focus on how many times we free cutters going to the rim, or, like, have a legit option where a guy is, like, cutting inside. You know what I mean? Like a cross screen for Nurkic where he gets good position inside, or, you know, a back screen like this where if the ball's over here, Collins might be able to catch the ball going towards the rim. We don't have that type of action. So that's why I think Stotts is an overrated offensive coach, just because our actions are so perimeter based and they end up bogging down the stretch, which happened in this game. Our offense was super stagnant and it was like, okay, Dame, this is just not working. Bail us out. And he bailed us out.
And to your point, CJ is one of the best ISO offensive players in the league. The shots he gets, he can get at any time in the shot clock. So that's what you're saying. Like, try to get an easy bucket first, and then with like 8 to 10 seconds left, nothing's happening. Then give it to CJ. Let him try to get another Law and Order Special Victims Unit, like crossover on someone. And do his thing. There's no reason to do that with 20 seconds left on the shot clock and try to have him take like a contested mid-range fadeaway shot. Like you can get that at any point, and it's just mind-boggling that we're still having these issues. And
so, hey, we're the idiots though. You know what I mean? Let's see media break down stuff like that. Let's see if Chad Doing knows what a horn set is. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. It's like it drives me crazy with the media, you know, and it's just always excuses. What I hated, because I have to bring this up, right? So that's why I'm bringing this up. This is a segue into just one specific tweet. I thought Mario played decent defense today. I thought Gabriel played decent defense today. You had Chad Doing.
We're gonna talk about Gabriel for a second.
Yeah, we will. You had Chad Doing on Twitter blaming our bad defense on, we have to play Hezonja and Gabriel and they shouldn't be out there. They were some of our better defenders today. They played, both of them. Hezonja had a steal and a fast break opportunity. I think he might have had 2 steals that resulted in, I know he had a fast break bucket and I know he had a kick out to Gary Trent Jr. Hezonja did not play bad defense today. Gabriel did not play bad defense today. But the thing is, it's always just searching for a scapegoat, and the easiest scapegoats are the guys who don't play that much. You know what I mean? So then when they're out there, nothing about, what is our offense doing? What are we running? What type of defensive schemes are we running? No, it's just like Gabriel and Hezonja shouldn't be out there, so that's why our defense is struggling. You know what I mean? That was a Chad Doing tweet today, and it just pissed me off. It's just like, let's just find the easiest scapegoat.
Yeah, his tweet that pissed me off was, you can tell how badly we need Ariza and Hood right now. It's like, no, like, exactly. They would not help us. Because we just do the same, like, it doesn't change our defensive scheme and switching picks. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, gosh. Yeah. It's so frustrating. So, and then, I don't know if you saw it, but Casey Holdall had a tweet today, too, that since we're talking about tweets real quick.
I think I saw it. I think I retweeted it where he said, all your complaints today are valid.
Yeah. He said, so Casey Holdall, the actual Blazers media guy, actually had said, a tweet that said, whatever complaints you have today are valid. And it's like, but we've been pointing these out all season, and he's another one of those guys who has been basically told us we're those guys that have to like be, we're too negative or we're too edgy or whatever he wants, like how he puts it in weird ways. But
we're just so toxic, right? That we don't like being called idiots on Twitter.
But yeah, and then one more tweet thing while we're talking about it. So I retweeted this before the game, but Dan Meringue posted a tweet that showed how incredibly efficient and great the offense has been with a Dame, CJ, Trent, Collins, and Nurk lineup. It's like incredibly efficient, huge positive net rating, all that stuff. Great defensive rating, awesome offensive rating, like both sides of it.
Yeah.
And but this is the same guy that says the coach doesn't get to pick the lineup. So like you're basically admitting that he's not putting the best lineup out there to win games, and that he's just trying to please the players that are on the team or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying
politics.
Melo shouldn't play or that I'm not dogging Melo. Melo was great tonight. That's not a knock on him. I'm just saying that like he had a tweet, and we've been begging for that starting lineup this whole bubble experience. But yeah.
But no, it's politics over performance. It's politics over winning games, right? So even though we have 4 games left of the season, Stas should be looking at this. Oh, this is our best lineup. Okay, we need to start it, right? Melo might not be, happy, but it's 3 games, right? Let's see if we can get Melo to buy in. Everybody's talking about how great of a locker room guy and team guy Melo is. Okay, maybe he'd be able to buy in for 3 games to coming off the bench, right? And if he wouldn't, then he's not that great team guy that everybody says he is. I think he would be fine coming off the bench for 3 games. I don't think there'd be any issues with that whatsoever. I think Melo would buy into it, and I think Melo could thrive in that role. He's already playing with the bench unit a lot, which is actually a good thing that Stas is doing. At least he's doing that and trying to end halves with Trent in the game. So I mean, it's not all bad in regards to Stas, but yeah, I mean, it's just stuff like that. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. It's just the same problems. And I just hope more people catch on to it. That's all I want. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm showcasing you guys stuff here on the clipboard. That's why I try and go in depth. That's why I'll tweet stuff like, what is our offense doing right now? That's like a legit question. For anybody who like questions our critique of Stotts, that's a legit question for those people. Like, explain to me what we're doing offensively right now. Like, explain to me, like, what sets are we trying to run? That type of stuff. Like, that's a legitimate question. It's kind of rhetorical in a way, like, what the hell are we doing? But it's also a legit question for anybody that, like, goes off against us for our critiques, and it's, I don't know, we wouldn't be so cavalier about this.
Say, well, he made the Western Conference Finals. It's obviously good, dumbass.
Yeah. It's just the Western Conference Finals, man. Like, we won this game today, and it was a bad coached game, right? The result today did not automatically mean it was a good coached game. That's the thing. People tie results to coaching way too much. Way too much. So, I don't know. We wouldn't be as cavalier about this either if we didn't just get called out all year. Which, like, I don't know. So, it's just like, we just have a point to prove. This whole restart, it's like, it's just proving our points all season right. It's proving what we've been trying to say all season right. So, like, we're just, we're going to be vocal about that. We're going to tell you guys what's going on. We're going to call out the people who just called us out all year. That's just how it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to shy away from it. Like, I'll embrace it. Like,
and I gotta get to 3 things from chat really quick.
Yep.
So, Jakob with the
shout out Jakob, he's back. The good old Norwegian cronies. He says, great to see you two rocking the postgame show. Good to see you back. Appreciate the cronies, man. I love the cronies.
All right, so that's number 1. What's up, Jakob? And then Blockboy says, maybe it's just me, but Collins isn't good. If you all think he's better than Melo, I don't see it. So I don't know how many times I can explain this to you. I appreciate you, but nowhere did we say Collins is a better player than Melo. We have never said that. That's not what we are saying. Like, that it's about fit with certain lineups and certain. The numbers bear it out that that's our best lineup.
Yeah.
So like I'm just saying what the numbers are, and we were right on that before it actually happened, and it's proving on the court. So like not one time did we say that the 5 starters are the 5 best players. I mean, look at what the Clippers do with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell and stuff like that. That's not a knock on those guys. They're great players. Montrezl Harrell is a million times better than Zubac. Like they're not even in the same league player-wise, but like Zubac fits better with the starters at the beginning of the game, and then Harrell can come in and abuse benches and stuff like that. I don't know if that's always the best strategy, but like with a guy like Melo, I just feel that's good. And then if he's having a game like tonight, then you absolutely then, you know, in the second half play him with the starters and give him good run and let him get looks like he did. Like that's not. I'm not saying Collins has to always be in there and Trent always has to start over Melo and all that stuff. I'm just saying like you need to put the best lineups. Yeah. And there's data that proves what the best lineups are. So like, that's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean the stats have proven that for us. So,
and then hold on, I forgot what the third thing was. Let me find it. Oh, the thing is, so we have this problem every stream we do, but like people are saying, check out what Nurk said. Look at what Nurk said. Like we cannot go look for stuff right now. Like we're trying to talk to you guys. Like we need you guys to like post it for us. Like just copy and paste and quote it in the chat what he said, and then we can comment on it. But like if you just tell us to go find the interview or did you guys check out the interview with Stotts? No, we've been on this postgame show.
Yeah. even if you say. Like, you can DM the tweet to me, and then in chat say, I DM'd you a Nurkic quote that I think you should read. Like, that works for me. Like, I have Twitter open. I can easily, like, go into my DMs and see it right away. So, instead of just saying, oh, go find what Nurkic said, or go find what Kendrick Perkins said, just make it easier on us, you know? Make it easier on us, and either, like, copy and paste the quote and quote it in chat, or send me the link in my Twitter DMs. The 2 very easy ways that helps us out a lot. Because I like you guys bringing stuff like, oh, look at this quote, look at that quote, you know, and we can talk about it. I like that. It just has to be easy. Like, I can't search through Twitter for 5 minutes when not listening to Eric, and everything, like, breaks down at that point.
Yeah.
So.
And half the time when we do that, we can't even find the tweet or the thing, and then we're like, we're just wasting time looking for it. But
shout
out to Russell, first round exit Westbrook for the $2 dono. If you were about to say that, you can read his.
Trying to get hashtag Fire Stotts trending on Twitter. Good luck with that. You don't have enough Blazer fans behind you.
And he's not going to get fired. I mean, we're being critical because Stotts doesn't even get questioned. Like that's the problem. Like, what's it going to take for a reporter to ask him, hey, you switched every pick in this game, basically. Why did you do that? It wasn't working. Why would you continue doing that? And then if you give some BS answer, say, like, Terry, it didn't work. Like, you kept doing it, and it didn't work. Like, I'm sorry, but it wasn't working, and you kept at it. Like, what is your reasoning behind that? But no one will get that in depth with him about questioning. They'll just be like, oh, so what was behind your defense? And he'll be like, oh, well, we tried doing something different one time and it didn't work, so I just had to go back to my normal defense, and that's it. Yep. And then no one will ever question about it again, and it's so frustrating.
So I did find the Nurk. It popped up like right at the top of my timeline, so
nice.
Got lucky with that one. But let's listen to what Nurkic says, because it's just apparently referencing Paul George.
How much is that on the front of your mind? And with this win, where do you think you are in making that not go to waste?
I mean, he's just taking bad shots, right? Simple as that. You'll see this game, next game, he's just taking bad shots. Luckily for us,
that's funny.
That's all I can say about that.
So you don't feel like you're thinking about making it worth it for all of you guys to come down here now? You don't think back to that at all?
That's why I'm here in the first place, for myself.
Yeah, so bad shots, man. Good old bad shots. Gotta love bad shots. Which, yeah, that's just funny.
So let's just talk real quick about the playing game scenarios.
Let me go through the box score first, because I wanted to do that. And then We can touch a little bit on each player.
We just have a lot of people asking.
Yeah, we'll get to that in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Alvaro, what's up, man? Thanks for the dono, $2 donation. Fire Stotts and hire Tim Duncan. And yeah, Stotts is not going to get fired. We're not. We still has 2 years left on his contract, so we're stuck at least.
But I'd love Ime Udoka as the head coach with Tim Duncan coming over as an assistant with Ime Udoka. I'd be down for that. Imagine Tim Duncan coaching Zach Collins. That would be interesting to see what that turns out to be.
And no, I'm not going to retweet Fire Stotts for you because it's just pointless waste of time. Like it's
yeah. I mean, it's not going to get anything done, man. The Stotts ain't going to get fired. And like after a loss would be a better time to do it. To like, if you want to like get some attention to like Stotts and doing it after a win is a lot harder. So, but anyway, let's go through the box score.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh Richardson shoot 13 for 20 for the 76ers, leading them with 34 points. He also had 6 assists, 5 rebounds, so a great game from Josh Richardson. Joel Embiid only played 6 minutes and only had 2 points. Was 1 for 6 in those 6 minutes, so he had no positive impact on this game for the Sixers. But had he stayed in, he probably would have figured that out. So, you know, his absence definitely helped out Portland. He stepped weird on the stanchion, turned his ankle a little bit. He should be fine. Tobias Harris, 16 points on 7 for 19 shooting. He wasn't really as big of a factor as he could have been. He needed to step up more in Simmons and Embiid's absence, and he didn't, so that's one guy the Blazers guarded well. But Al Horford in 22 minutes, shot 6 for 9 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, had 15.6 rebounds, 5 assists. He hurt us in multiple scenarios today. Other than that, in the starting lineup, you had Shake Milton, 11 points, 4 for 10 shooting. Off the bench, you had Alec Burks, who always seems to kill the Blazers now. He had 20 points in 23 minutes, also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He was crucial for them down the stretch. Mike Scott had 9 points in 16 minutes. Furkan freaking Korkmaz had 7 off the bench. Good old Furkan freaking Korkmaz. At least he didn't hit a game winner against us this time. As far as the Blazers, you got Dame with 51, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. He was 16 for 28 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, 15 for 60 from a field. This was impressive from Dame, just because most of the time he has 50-point games is because he's shooting well from 3. He was only 4 for 12, so it was because he was getting to the line, attacking, getting downhill, drawing fouls, and he was getting to the rim and finishing.
Yep.
So,
which he should do without Embiid in the game.
Yep, 100%. So a little different type of 50-point game from Dame, but another one. I think they said it was his 10th of his career and his 5th of the season, tying James Harden. Carmelo was 6 for 13 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 20.7 rebounds. Carmelo's been a good 3-point shooter this year, and this game he tried to attack out of the post a little bit more, which I like that. Even the play that he got blocked at the end of the half, I think it was, at the end of the first half. I like that, man. Don't settle for constant mid-range fadeaways. Attack. He got a chance to dunk on somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it got blocked, but you'll have a better chance for success if he attacks more, I think. And I think you saw that in this game. So,
one thing I loved about Melo, too, is at least early in this game, he had 2 really nice passes when he could have forced a shot. Neither of them worked out, but he had Collins rolling down the middle, and then Collins missed a lay-in. He's trying to pump fake Embiid. And then a couple plays later, you had Gabriel basically in the same spot. He also missed the lay-in, but I thought those were 2 nice passes from Melo. And I've always said this, when he looks to pass a little bit, it keeps the defense a little more honest and can't play up on him as much. And you saw that kind of open up his game for the rest of the game.
I also like that he's starting to use, instead of just turning the, left over his left shoulder fadeaway going middle, I like that he's starting to pump fake and draw fouls. Like, every time he's done that, he's drawn a foul and gotten to the line. He's gotten a couple and ones in the past couple games just by, instead of just shooting a fadeaway, pump faking it. You know what I mean? And if guys jump by and there's no contact, maybe you could step through and finish. So he also had a couple nice drives today, a couple nice finishes, just on the move, which I like to see. And his defense has been better than I expected in the bubble. It hasn't been quite as bad at small forward as I thought. He's definitely more spry and agile, but his hands have been a lot more active in the bubble than they were during the normal season, I thought. So he just seems to be bought in on that end. And he was a plus 14. So he led the team in that regard. So he definitely had a good game. You had Nurkic had 15 on 5 for 9 shooting, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. His good free throw shooting continues. He was 0 for 1 from 3.
He hit those 2 clutch ones too.
Those 2 clutch free throws. So this was a good game from Nurkic, I thought. 15 points in 29 minutes, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. I'll take that. Shooting over 50% from the field and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. I'll take that from Nurkic. That's a solid game.
One thing, this is pretty much all our big men, but like we had Nurk with 2 fouls in a minute and a half. We had Collins, foul. Then Gabriel comes in, and so Embiid drew 4 fouls in the first few minutes of this game, and they were all kind of like dumb overplay fouls, like where you didn't have to commit a foul. So we need to definitely stop that, especially when you're down Whiteside in this game. You cannot get 2 fouls like right off the bat. You cannot play too aggressively. He was lucky towards the end he didn't foul out too, because he had several over aggressive type plays, and he was lucky he didn't get called for those. But yeah, but we've gotten the bigs in foul trouble every game.
Yeah, every single game, which we predicted. That's another thing we've gotten right, with this perimeter defense not being good. Off the bench, Azonia had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, shot 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, didn't have a turnover. So people were like freaking out about Hazonia all game long, and like Terry should still sub in Gary Trent Jr. first. I still don't understand why he would sub in Hazonia first, even though he did sub them in around the same time. And thinking like Gary Trent Jr. came in 30 seconds later. But Hazonia had a good game today. I thought he played solid defense. He hit 2 threes. In transition, he wasn't as out of control as he normally is. A lot of times he puts his head down and flails something at the rim. He did have a fast break finish where he kind of took his time and used his body just to get good position and slow down and score around the rim. And he also had a kick out to Trent, who hit a 3. So Hazonia today was solid. You know what I mean? But like he's just made the scapegoat. You know what I mean? Like somehow, what's wrong with our team today? Oh, it's Hazonia. It was not Hazonia today. It was not. But he's just easy scapegoat, which a lot of times it would be Hazonia, you know what I mean? So I guess it's just easier for people to blame him, I've called out Hazonia numerous times this season, right? But when he plays good, I have to give him his props. Yeah,
and once again, it's not Mario Hazonia's fault he's being put in these positions either. I mean, like we all know who he is as a player, so he's going to go out there. It's not like he's not trying when he's out there. He's just, And I think part of the frustration is I would just like to see Little get one chance, like just one little opportunity to prove himself. And you don't know if maybe we don't blow some of these leads. Maybe he plays really good defense and kind of earns his minutes or whatever. But yeah, you can't really pin anything in terms of blowing this lead really on Hazonia today. He was fine. And he almost took like a heat check 32-footer at one point. It was I don't know if you saw the play I'm talking about, but
I did.
He like faked like he was gonna shoot it. I thought he was gonna be like Dame heat check shot, but I was glad he didn't shoot that.
If you guys have noticed, I haven't been too vocal about Little should play over Hazonia. Honestly, at this point, like I don't know if Little would have a game this solid. So it's just, I don't know, like it's a mixed bag. Like I would like to see Little get a chance, but also it's like Mario hasn't played that bad in the bubble. He's had his bad moments, he's also done some good things. So at this point it's kind of like, he should probably be the 8th guy, as weird as it is to say. I don't want him to play too many minutes, you know what I mean? Play Trent as much as possible. Play Trent 40 minutes, and play Whiteside when he gets back and healthy, and then have Hazonia be the 8th guy playing like 6 to 10 minutes. But like I'm not gonna get upset over somebody else not being that 8th guy at this point.
Yeah, that's way down on the list. I just like with how bad we are defensively and how at a few times this season I've seen Little come in and provide some energy on defense. And this would be a good time to talk about Gabriel. Was he next in the box score?
I was going to point out CJ very briefly.
Okay,
He had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 for 17 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. So kind of struggled, but it wasn't a bad game. It was just kind of like a game for CJ. But then we should talk about Collins briefly. Only 2 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, 1 for 3 from the field in 23 minutes. He has to get better inside. He has to get better in that regard. He has to finish better. He has to have more confidence taking it to the rim. And once he does that, I think it might open up his game. You know what I mean? I would like to see him maybe shoot more threes. He doesn't really seem to be looking for threes, even though he's a power forward, which is kind of strange. But yeah, I mean, I am slightly disappointed in Collins during this restart, but it's a small sample size, and he was out for a while, so I think you're kind of just seeing a product of that, even though Nurkic came back and killed it, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Nurkic comes back and kills it, and people are like, oh, well, Collins should come back and kill it too.
That's what I've been saying, yeah.
You know, so...
And this is Zach's third year. I mean, Nurk's more of a veteran, too. Like, he was supposed to break out. It's got to be frustrating for him. But you can tell his strength isn't 100% back yet. Whereas Nurk is a big guy. He can body people even if he's not like 100% back to being Nurk. But yeah, Nurk. Alex is right. Nurk set that bar really high.
But then Gabriel is the last guy that played for the Blazers that we haven't gotten to yet. He had a good finish and then went 1 for 2 from the free throw line. He's just a guy that just brings energy and plays solid defense, you know what I mean? And can finish a play here and there, like he had with that dunk. You know what I mean? So, like, he's not a terrible guy to have because we have a ton of guys that can score. We have Dame, CJ, Trent, Carmelo, Nurkic. You know, we have guys that can score. So if we don't have Whiteside in a situation like this, it's nice that we have a guy like Gabriel who can come in and provide what he did today.
There was a play... this might be a good one for our next film breakdown. So Gabriel was guarding the inbound. It was a under the hoop inbound play by the Sixers, and Gabriel was guarding the inbounder. He, with his back turned to the basket, recognized and was aware enough to see that Dame and Trent. There was some action between two of the guards, and Dame and Trent got mixed up, and they both went to the same guy, leaving a curler wide open under the hoop. And Gabriel recognized it, recovers back, stops the pass from happening, so they had to pass out to the three-point line. And then I forgot if it was Trent or Dame, but one of them blows their assignment, and Gabriel recovers all the way out to a guard shooting a three-point shot, contests the shot, he misses the shot. Little effort plays like that and awareness plays like that are the difference between winning and losing games like this. And I will play a guy who leaves it on the floor and does little things like that over. Like, I can work with that. Like, I can be good. Like you said, you don't have to have 5 guys that score the ball every time. Like, I need guys who can be aware enough to make those decisions on defense and not get mixed up. And yes, he's going to make mistakes, but I just love the energy and the awareness there. And it was on perfect display in that play.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, it's not a guy you're going to rely on for a lot of minutes. So the few minutes he gets, you know, you hope he can play with 100% energy and just bring it. And the thing is, he is pretty quick for his size and pretty agile. So use it. You know, make a defensive play like that can help this team win games. So yeah, that was. I don't really remember that play off the top of my head, but you know, I've seen Gabriel do stuff like that before. You know, that's the very Wenyen Gabriel type of play, and that's why I really like him. So, yeah, it was nice to see Wenyen get some time and contribute to a win. So, that wraps up the box score. Let's look at the scores from today. I said on our post-game stream yesterday, there was 3 games in between that game yesterday and this game today. There was 3 games that really affected us in the standings. And only one of those 3 games turned out how I wanted it to turn out. Because you had the Suns beating the Heat yesterday. We were obviously rooting for the Heat. And then today you had the Grizzlies lost. So we are now half a game back behind the Grizzlies with 2 left. I'll talk about like how many games we need to win versus other teams in a second. But the Grizzlies lost, so that was the one game that worked in our favor. But then the Spurs beat the Pelicans. The Spurs were a game closer than the Pelicans, so now the Pelicans are done. The Pelicans are done.
They're eliminated. Yep. See ya.
Bye. Didn't work. That weak-ass schedule, you guys couldn't handle it. But the Spurs are a team that's on our heels. They're only a half game behind us, I believe. Let's look at the standings right now. Let me pull them up. So we were rooting for the Pelicans just because they were for a game further back than the Spurs. So
in terms of the 8 seed, if we go 2-0 and Memphis goes 1-1 or 0-2, we would be the 8 seed.
We need a game. One win on them over the final 2 games.
If we go 1-1 and Memphis would have to go 0-2 then for us to get the 8 seed. Or if we go 0-2, it's impossible for us to get the 8 seed, and we probably lose the 9th seed as well.
Yep. So we'll be rooting against Memphis. Let's just look at this. Portland
Move it
has
over a little more.
Yeah, let me do
You can always see that. You can't see what the teams are.
Let me just look at the schedule. Let's look at Memphis's schedule. They got Boston and Milwaukee left. Sorry if it's like not displaying as much as possible.
No, you're good now. It was a little too far.
Let's not do that. Let's do that. Okay. So they got Boston and Milwaukee. Hopefully Boston doesn't rest guys, but they might. Hopefully, like Milwaukee will probably rest guys too. So Portland, I think Memphis gets one of these games. At least one. Because like both these teams could rest guys. So Portland, in my opinion, has to win out in order to get the 8th seed. And they still might not even get it. You know, if we go 2-0 and Memphis goes 2-0, Memphis gets the 8th seed, right? That's what sucked about losing yesterday. We would be the 8th seed right now.
And we control our destiny for the play-in.
But Boston and Milwaukee for Memphis. So we'll be rooting for Boston on Tuesday. I think this game is after ours. So we will know, against the Mavericks what our position is.
I think it's the same time.
Is it? No, we play Dallas at 2.
Eastern? Is that Eastern?
Is it?
I think our game on Tuesday.
I'll just pull up my schedule to be able to tell.
The game on Tuesday got moved to 3:30. They moved it into like a primetime game.
Oh, did it? Okay. I didn't know that. So maybe it's not even updated. Yeah. So same time as our game, which I assume they're in different arenas. Okay. So that'll be something we watch. Dallas is resting guys tomorrow, which makes no sense to me because they still have a chance of catching Utah for the 6th seed, and they play Utah tomorrow. They'd have to win out, and Utah would have to lose out, but I think Utah only has 2 games left, and Dallas is 3. So, like, if Dallas won that game, Utah would only have to lose their last, and Dallas would have to win their last 2 in order for Dallas to pass Utah for the 6th seed. But they're resting guys tomorrow, so they're fine with being the 7th seed, and it is a back-to-back today and tomorrow for Dallas. They should have rested their guys against us, you know what I mean? Or they should have tried to win against Utah, and then if they won, then they could go for that 6th seed, and if they lost, then rest guys.
I'm pretty sure with what happened today, I think they're locked in.
Utah didn't play today.
Or with what happened last night then.
I was looking at it last night. Dallas is 2 games back. They have 3 games left. Utah has 2. So,
are you sure they have 3 games?
Dallas? Yeah, 3 games. So, I'll go back to the standings though and double check it.
Yeah, it says 2 games, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, they are 2 games behind Utah. Utah has 2 games left. Dallas has 3. So Dallas could pass them. They can gain 2.5 games on Utah, and they play next. So that's the thing. If Dallas won that game, Dallas would only be 1 game behind Utah. Utah would have 1 game left. Dallas would have 2. So if Dallas went 2-0 and Utah went 0-1, Dallas could pass Utah and get the 6th seed and have a matchup against Denver instead of having a matchup against the Clippers. So that's why I'm kind of confused that Dallas is resting players tomorrow against the Jazz instead of waiting and seeing what happens with that game. Because then if they lose, then they're locked in and they could rest guys against us. So we'll see what happens with Dallas. They probably won't play their players a ton of minutes against us because that's the thing. I think they're resigned to the 7th seed. So they're not playing Porzingis or Luka against the Jazz tomorrow. For our game against them on the 11th, they will probably play those guys like 20 minutes, I'm guessing. So we should be able to win this Dallas game. We should be able to win the last game of the season, which is against Brooklyn, right? Like, we should be able to win out. But then again, we struggled today and we lost yesterday. So you never know with this team. That's what's funny.
I'm not counting any games ever again.
Like, Brooklyn is pretty much locked into. And it probably doesn't really matter who they play. So they might rest their guys as well with it being the last game. So yeah, we're just in a position here where we're hoping that Boston plays their guys or Milwaukee tries to win. You know what I mean? Or Memphis just screws up. So hopefully Memphis loses one of those games against Boston or Milwaukee. The thing is, both those teams are locked in. Boston's locked in there. So it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? That was games that we were looking at oh, that's tough teams. But with teams resting guys, that's interesting. So either way, we have to gain a game on Memphis over the final two. We have to get one more win than them over the final two games in order to pass them. Now let's look at Phoenix and San Antonio. So we have the tiebreaker with Phoenix. Correct? Yes, we have the tiebreaker with Phoenix.
No, we can't tie, I think.
No, they have 2 games left. No, they have 3, don't they?
I think they have 3.
Yeah, they have 3 left.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can't tie with them yet.
Phoenix has to get 2 more wins than us over these last 2 to 3 games, right? We have 2 games left. They have 3. So if we go 1-1, Phoenix has to go 3-0, and they'd pass us up. If we go 0-2, Phoenix would have to go 2-1 and pass us up. If you assume the Blazers win at least one game, one of these final 2 games, if Phoenix loses tomorrow, they can't catch us if we win one of our final 2. Mm-hmm. So as far as scoreboard watching goes, you got OKC tomorrow. That could be a tough game. OKC's still playing for things. I think they're still going to try and win. So Philadelphia probably doesn't want to be the 6th seed. Probably would rather be the 5. So if they get Embiid back, which hopefully they do, for this game, that could be a game. Dallas, they'll probably rest guys. So this game's really important against OKC. If they lose, we could go into the game against Dallas with, I believe, a chance to lock up the 9 seed a game early if things break right. So that game, Phoenix against OKC, is important tomorrow. San Antonio has how many games left? San Antonio has 2 games left. They are
half a game.
Half a game behind us. So
or
over
they now a game because we won.
No, they're half a game.
Okay.
They're half a game.
They tied us, and now we're back up a half. Yeah.
Yep. So San Antonio only has to gain 1 win on us over the final 2 games. San Antonio only has to. So if they go 2-0, we have to. No, if they go 2-0 and we go 1-1, they pass us.
Yep.
So we have to at least match the record over the final 2 games, right? Mm-hmm. So if San Antonio goes 2-0, we have to go 2-0. Yep. So San Antonio is more of a threat than Phoenix, in my opinion.
Well, unless they win tomorrow, because they'd be the same scenario. They'd be a half game back with 2 that big play. So
yeah, but
if Phoenix wins tomorrow, they're the same exact threat as San Antonio.
True.
If they lose tomorrow, you're completely correct that they are less of a threat. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the better way of looking at it. So only one game really matters. I think Memphis plays tomorrow. I forget. I don't know. But as far as the teams behind us, San Antonio doesn't play tomorrow. Phoenix is the only other team that can catch us. That's crazy. But yeah, so this game will go before our game on Tuesday, right? San Antonio will play Houston. This is a game that should be tough for San Antonio. So going into our game, we could know going into our game on Tuesday whether or not that's to lock up the 9th seed, right? Because if Phoenix loses tomorrow and San Antonio loses that morning against Houston, then a win on Tuesday would lock us into the 9th seed at least.
Kevin, we cannot tie with the Spurs. They played a game difference than us, so that it would be a half a game either way. So we both have 2 games, and they're a half a game behind, so there's no possible tiebreaker with them or Phoenix at this point.
Yeah. So they have to get 1 more win than us over the final 2 games. That's why I'm explaining it like that, so you guys don't have to worry about, what about ties, what about all that? No. If they get 1 more win than us over the final 2 games, they pass us. If they don't, if they tie us, if they get 1-1 over the final 2 games and we get 1-1 over the final 2 games, We get it. So that's kind of the scenario we're in.
And there's also some scenarios where we could both pass Memphis. If Memphis loses their last two, and all three of us win out, I don't know who has the tiebreaker between Phoenix and San Antonio. I think it might be Phoenix, actually, because they played 2 more games, I think.
Yeah, they have.
So, yeah, we could see a scenario if Memphis loses out where we are playing either Phoenix or San Antonio, or if we crap the bed too, Phoenix and San Antonio could still possibly play in that game.
We could potentially be the 9th seed playing against Phoenix. If Phoenix has 3 games left. If they win 3 games, go 3-0, we go 1-1, and Memphis goes 0-2, we would be the 9th seed, Phoenix would be the 8th seed.
If San Antonio also went 1-1. Because if they went 2-0, they would pass us too.
Yeah. So if they went 2-0, then it would be Phoenix versus San Antonio. So yeah, there is some noise, you know what I mean? So basically, stuff's still up in the air, even with 2 games left. You still got 4 teams vying for 2 spots. There will be a play-in game. So it would have been so much easier if we just beat the Clippers, man. We would be, it would be so much easier. We would just have to win 1 game.
Yep. To be the 8th seed.
Yeah, or to get locked into the play-in. We'd only have to win 1 game. And if we won out, we would get the 8th seed. And if Memphis lost 1 of their final 2, we would only need 1 win to get the 8th seed. Yeah, so